Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome to the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm your host, Ben, and Carissa, who is supposed to chime in right there, is unfortunately running a little bit behind schedule, if I'm not mistaken, and she should be here any moment. So everyone, actually, I had you muted up so people couldn't even hear your hilarious response, Nathan. But yeah, there you go. Okay, now they can hear you. So yeah, that voice is Nathan Evans. If you are no stranger to the show, then then you know who he is. Carissa says she actually did not get the email, so I'm going to send this real quick over this, and yeah, she'll be here in just a moment. But everyone, welcome into today's program. Today on the show, we have the one, the only Mr. Nathan Evans. He is, of course, managing editor over at Popzara.com, and if you want to find out about them, visit their website, check out the show notes, and hey, they do everything from pop culture to, just about everything. So it's a really fun time, really fun read, and they have podcast articles, reviews, all that, and more. So with that being said, real quick, computeramerica.com, that's where you'll find the show notes, past shows, future shows, and of course, hey, you can find past shows with Carissa on them, and yeah, hopefully, wow, my timing was so far off. Let me try that again. And of course, you can find past shows with Carissa on them, who is right here.
Hi.
Perfect. There we go.
What's up? Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was on my end. But yeah, she's here now. We're all here now. And everyone, why don't we go ahead and get started? Yeah, computeramerica.com, all that good stuff. So yeah, just real quick, Carissa, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Okay, and so you heard his voice before, and like I said, longtime Computer America correspondent. He helps us out with a lot of our coverage on so many things, and hey, he's an all-around nice guy to talk to. Yeah, Nathan Evans. Nathan, how you doing? Welcome back onto the show.
What's up, Ben? Hi, Chris. Welcome back. By the way, if you guys hear, if I sound a little different today, I promise you it's not Smoker's voice. I just had a little procedure. Ben, I'll be honest, I kind of hoped I would age into like a nice raspy like Bob Dylan voice as I got older. But not going to happen. I'm going to be liquid smooth the rest of my life.
If you, I've heard if you gargle salt rocks, you will get that voice. So good luck with that.
That and 20 packs a day. So
that too. And like voices are so strange. Like I just heard this whole exchange about ever since I was born, my mom's been a huge fan of Rod Stewart, and he came up in casual conversation, and I heard so many people used to like in like the DJ industry back in like the 80s. Like they referred to him as like old gravel voice or gravel rocks or something like that. Yeah, those iconic gravelly voices. They some people love them, some people hate them.
I'll say this: nothing has made me happier in this foobarred year of 2020 than knowing that Stevie Nicks returned to the charts. Because when it comes to gravel voices, and I don't know if you'd call her gravel or husky, but non-traditional voices.
Yeah.
She's up there as far as the females, but Rod Stewart's up there as the male. He's pretty cool too.
Yeah. Yep. And of course, that you're referring to that infamous TikTok with cranberry juice. Great viral marketing that they did there. And yeah, So, okay. With that being said, so before we get started, Nathan, if you don't mind explaining a little bit about what what you and your team of writers do over there at Popzara.
Oh, goodness. You have to ask that question that I've never been asked before.
I doubt that.
As you know, it's a website. We do a little of this, a little of that, mostly pop culture slices. You could say a Popzara of pop culture. That's how I retcon the whole meeting. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I told you we're in the middle of changing things, so I'm really, really excited because the things are going to look so much nicer. We're finally going to get off the 2015 design and maybe get a 2017 design at this rate.
Nice.
But it's funny though, because if you go back and look at every major website in the last 2 years, they've all gone to the same boring white background and square image because, mobile and responsive design.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of fighting against that a little bit, but I'm going to lose that battle eventually.
You will.
Yeah.
Google has laid down the groundwork, and we all have to play by it if you want to have a successful website. And it has to work on mobile, it has to be modular, and it has to be so easy to slip advertising in. Otherwise, your ranking goes down.
That's absolutely true. And I will say this, though. My dreams of Google being like ripped apart and like vivisected by the government are gone down the toilet. So I'm just going to accept that the Google overlords will continue to rule our lives.
For a little while now.
Yep.
Sorry, Chris, but yeah, for a little while now, Google, Amazon, all of them seem to be pretty safe from any kind of.
You know who I'd like? You know who I'd like to be my new overlord, though? If I could pick my slave master,
yes,
it would be Amazon.
Yeah.
Because Amazon's in it for the money. They're in it for the money. They're not in it for the ads like the way Google is. Like they're greedy, but they're more like omnipresent greedy. Google is shady. Like we've gone battle with Google at Popzara. I mean, full disclosure, if I sound a little mad. Yeah, it's like they tell you violated something, or they say you've crossed the line, but they won't tell you why you crossed the line. They won't tell you how things happen. They even send you emails that say, we regret to inform you of such. We know you'd like more information about such violation, but we can't share that with you because
it's too automated.
Our advertisers.
Yeah,
and good luck trying to get through to them. But no, I mean, they help a lot of people, but I do not want to talk about this because I'm not knowledgeable enough. But YouTube is changing their monetization for certain creators, and is disenfranchising creators even more so. And at some point, I wish there was more alternatives.
Yeah, and of course that was one of the topics that we had here. This article from Ars Technica that we didn't talk about yesterday, but it.
Oh, I'd love to talk about that. What did I say? I would love to talk about that.
Exactly. Well, we said that you didn't know enough about it, and I'm sure Mariella Moon knows more than both of us. But yeah, anyone who makes less than, or they have like less than a certain threshold, and I remember like a year ago they bumped up the threshold for actually getting paid, and then like they wouldn't show ads, but now what they're doing, because like you had to be a partner to show ads, and then when you show ads, you got a portion. YouTube got a portion. That's how it worked. Anything below that threshold, which used to be pretty easy to hit, and now it's 4,000 hours watched in a year, 1,000 subscribers, which isn't the highest bar, but at the same time it does. I would say probably the majority of content is by people who don't meet that threshold. That is probably the bulk of YouTube. Like other than like the top, the top 5%, everyone else probably doesn't meet that threshold.
Well, here's the thing though, they're creating monetization levels on this. Like YouTube will literally create their own content and label it as marquee, and then therefore reducing the number of people who can join their marquee club. For example, Brie Larson, the actress, very famously became I forget what
she
the
had a
designation
podcast,
is.
right?
YouTube, whatever they call it now. You can't see my air quotes, but whatever they call it. She was on YouTube, and immediately she got the earned badges. She got all this stuff. She had millions of hits with her very first video, which was clearly an advertisement. That's all it was. It was clearly staged. And you look at people who have been toiling away on the underbrush for a long time, creating original content, putting in the work and time, and they've seen themselves be uncycled, demonetized, again, for reasons that are nebulous, they don't understand. But they see these celebrities immediately jump in, and they're immediately given preferential treatment. So the question is, by YouTube's own rules, Brie Larson's will be monetized more than someone with a legacy that's just under the cusp. And how stinky is that for people who built YouTube like TikTok now? Like, I don't like TikTok, but TikTok is honest that its entire user base is by people like the guy drinking the ocean spray. It's done by people who are out there creating crazy acts of whatever, but it's real people. It's not celebrities, sidling in and just jumping and just leeching off the celebrity status. It's
but
disingenuous.
that's been a thing for I'm a pretty active follower of Twitch, and I got to say that most of the really successful people on Twitch, and I say most as in a high percentage, most of them got their audience through other means. Either they were ex-professional video game players, or they were from some other platform.
Recruited, right?
Yeah, recruited for different reasons. But what I'm saying is that they grew an audience elsewhere, and then that gave them the step up over everyone else who's trying to do it organically. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but boy, does it really help when you have a much larger organization like a movie studio or someone else giving you that exposure, and then you immediately step up over everyone else.
Well, full disclosure, my history. I come from the world of publishing.
Yes.
I got my start when you had to, and I'm not trying to say
Nintendo Power, right? Yeah.
Not Nintendo Power. I don't want to say the name of the mag. I don't want to say the name of it. But I'll just say this: I got my start earning it. I hate to say it, the old-fashioned way. I had to rise up, and I was selected among thousands and thousands of people. And for whatever reason, whether luck or skill, I was there. And I get that. But I also get that YouTube and Twitch and other things allow the common person to come up. And frankly, I don't really like the makeup videos, and I don't understand why people like watching people play video games, but it's not for me, right? And so, but that's a legitimate putting in the time. And what's happening now with these badges and these promoted things, they're going back to the old model. Like, you get an enormous head start based on your predetermined scenario, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're something else, you will be given preferential treatment on the ladder. And maybe that's fair. But by not paying people for doing the work they've been doing under the old agreement is kind of shady. I'm sorry, but YouTube's agreement with these people is that they chose YouTube as a platform. And you and I have talked about this many times. You and I disagree on this, but you and I have talked about this. The idea is that they're a private platform. They can do whatever they want. But when you have contracts with people, when you say build YouTube into your platform, YouTube the platform. And by the way, YouTube isn't free all the time. They sell subscription services. They sell ad-free networks. You are going to invest in the YouTube platform, which is not one-to-one compatible with like Vimeo or whatever. It's YouTube.
Right.
And they decide to change it because somebody sneezed and decided they need to give you less money. They can do that. That's shady. That's shady, and I think it's dishonest.
It's a lack of competition. Clear cut. That's the whole reason behind it. And for those of you who don't know, this was the story that came out on the 18th, and here we are 2 days later. But yeah, they're saying that people who don't meet that threshold of being a full-blown YouTube partner, before they just wouldn't show ads, or at least they would show like one pre-roll ad or something like that. But yeah, they would limit the amount of ads that they run because, first of all, it's not, I guess, kind of worth their time to monetize. And then on top of that, it's one of the little nice things about being kind of like a smaller YouTube channel is that people can watch your videos without just being bombarded with ads like other parts
every
of YouTube.
10 seconds.
Exactly. Yeah. But now they're doing that where every video on YouTube has to be ad friendly, I guess. So, hey, take that as you will. And then on top of that, now they will be showing ads on smaller streamers on smaller YouTubers who don't meet the threshold of being a partner. And those ads that are shown before, all that money goes directly to YouTube. There's no split. Yeah. There's no cut. There's nothing that goes to the person who made the content. Yes.
So to be clear, YouTube will now be monetizing your videos for YouTube, not for you. So you will still be doing that. You will still be creating the same content you have. Instead of you getting money, YouTube will keep the money. that they've gotten from advertisers. So they're going to expand their advertising model while disenfranchising you from previous agreements. I'm sorry, but that stinks.
I-
Like,
so-
That's stinky.
I'm sorry,
someone,
I can't say the word I want, but it rhymes
Yes.
with.
yes, someone made the comment
He
that Google used to have a slogan, "Don't be evil," and boy, is this just really taking a hard left turn from that, because I can't think
They
of things
ditched that
that
a
are.
while ago.
Yes, they did a while ago, but I can't think of something that's more evil than we're making money off you, you're getting nothing, and you're welcome for the privilege. Yeah.
Well, the last story of this is that the Google people themselves, the sanctimonious, who's the CEO? Pinchar? What's his name?
Soon.
Sundar Pinchar. I forget.
Yeah.
They keep switching. I liked it was Eric Schmidt because he was easy to recognize. But
Sundar Pichai.
preach-
There we go. Sundar
Yeah.
Pichai.
They love doing that BS doodle Google where they show you like socialism workers. They talk about the plight, about everyone coming together, but they do so much of this shady stuff. And it's like it really is two different companies. It's the Wizard of Oz. Like, you have this magical wonderland of Google that is going to change the world, and they have some great products and everything, but they systematically disenfranchise their user base, the ones that built them and gave them all the data. Like, and that's not even counting like their anti-establishmentism or anti-competitive behavior, which, by the way, again, I heard Chris laughing, but I was being really serious. Like, I was like, yes, we're finally going to see them get taken to task, but I don't think that's going to happen now. And I was a little sad about that. I'm not saying I want them broken up, because Lord knows we don't need more Googles, but at least slapped.
And I have been very vocal on the show about, there is probably time for some tech companies to be broken up. I mean, just looking at even like the recent past, like not even like ancient history. I'm talking like, this was like a couple years before I was born, but I definitely learned about it through the show and other places. Everything with Bell Corp, and how,
bells.
and how it was broken up because it was too monopolistic and things like that. The market share that Bell had when it was broken up into its different parts, and then eventually reformed back together into the amazing
It was like
company
the
that
Terminator.
it
It was like the T-1000.
where it just kind of oozes out and then oozes back together. The companies that we're dealing with today, between Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, they're much bigger than what has traditionally been seen as a danger to the free market and competition. But boy, do we just not have the legislative initiative to do that nowadays.
Can I tell you a story? My
Go for it.
grandmother, right before she died, I remember when I was at her house one time, and my family, we swear like sailors. And so we'd always use, the
Heck
telephone
yeah.
that was attached to the wall, and we go blah, 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 blah. And she'd run over and she'd hit us over the side of the head with a newspaper. Whap! Like, don't swear. They're listening. Because operators used to listen, right?
Yeah,
because AT&T
sure.
used to own everything. And they got broken up. Like you said, boom. AT&T got broken up, smashed up in, it was like 1970s, early 80s. And they got smashed up and everything got better. You could buy your own phone. There was competition. But eventually, ooze, like you said, back together. Now they're stronger and more powerful than ever. But let me say something about Google. Companies like Google that control the networks themselves can arbitrarily determine things like, and it sounds good, hate speech. We don't promote this, we don't promote that. And some people have accused me of being conservative, but I'm actually quite liberal on this, because the idea is, what other civil rights do you forfeit when you go into a private business? I mean, imagine we use that same argument that Google and everything's a private business. They can say and regulate however they want. Well, imagine we said that about the countertop owners in the 60s during the civil rights. We don't have to serve Black people. It's a private business. We wouldn't allow that. Of course not. And what you're doing is, for all intents and purposes, what Google and Amazon and Facebook have done, they've recreated the roads. Remember we used to call it the information superhighway? Well, congratulations. We've replaced concrete with silicon. And so if you're going to start a business, you're going to be online. And so you need to share this digital highway. But if Google and all these others are so arbitrary that I can't have it, like Lord knows today, I can't say a certain word. But what if the word becomes a political opinion? And what if the political opinion denies me PayPal services, which it has? What if the political opinion denies me social media status, which it has? But what if it gets worse because we decided they're allowed to do this? and there's no competition, then how is that any different than me wanting to start a business in my hometown or your hometown, but they deny it because of the color of my skin or my political affiliation? I'm sorry, but that's not right. There needs to be some sort of, I'm not saying regulation, I'm not saying break them up, but we need to look at this stuff and realize the world has changed. And therefore, before we start applying old world values to it, Ben, we just need to say, how is fairness arbitrated? And we haven't done that. We've allowed these schmucks to sort of run ripshot over people's rights. It's not right.
There's and really you're getting to the legal aspect of it, which while we have covered on the show, it's just so unfortunate that a lot of the stuff is it legal? And that's a big question that they keep asking. And unfortunately, we have to keep going back to the time of telegrams and telegraphs and the time of phone lines and, with operators and things like that. Like a lot of the rules that govern the internet were either laid down in the early 1990s when they really took a look at this, or they were laid down in the early 1900s when, telegraph services were sprouting up. And that's what we have to interpret the internet by. It's very clear that, the internet of 2010 is not even the internet of 2020. So, trying to interpret the best way to run these things with laws that are 30, 40, or in some cases 130 years old, legislation always lags behind tech. You know that, Nathan.
Well, I'll just say this, and for anybody who might be on the fence about where I sit politically, I disagreed with the Department of Justice's going after Apple for price fixing with the iBook scenario years ago, because I'm sorry, but a company with 10% market share cannot, by definition, be a monopoly. I was against the Trump administration going after TikTok. I don't like politically minded actions against companies that I don't happen to like. Yeah, TikTok is full of morons, and Apple Books could have a better selection, but doesn't mean I want to see them banned. And so the problem is that tech companies give coverage for political malfeasance. And so I think to repair one without repairing the other would be a fool's game, right? But at the same point, something needs to happen. And Ben, I'll just end it like this. That ain't happening anytime soon, not with this configuration of political players that's in play right now. And so it'll happen when we're dead.
Right.
So enjoy.
So and really the last thing I'll say about this, a little workaround if you're running a small YouTube channel, I'm not saying that you should do this by any means. Go out of your way to be antagonistic, but YouTube will not run ads on any videos that contain inappropriate language, violence, inflammatory and sexual content, drug-related and firearm-related content, as well as anything that incites hatred against individual groups of people based on their religion, sexuality, gender identity, among others. So if you want to maintain an ad-free video, make someone mad, I guess.
Yeah, what a world. What a great open, inclusive environment that they have.
It's such a bad loophole, but there you go. So good luck with that, YouTube. I get where they're coming from. I mean, so much video is hosted on YouTube. It just makes me question how much money are they really going to recoup from this? Like, I don't know. It seems short-sighted.
Think about this. It's not Google who owns it. It's Alphabet. Like, it's almost like they foresaw this scenario of them getting busted up. So they renamed their company Alphabet, 26 letters. So if we got to get broken up, we got 26 different little mini companies we can
It's true. No, they're ready for it. They're totally ready for it.
They know it. If you watch Europe, it's happening in Europe. So we'll see what happens here. And in Europe, Europe is the reason why I think Amazon is facing down a potential of like a $23 billion fine or $32 billion fine or something like that. But yeah, I digress. So Nathan, we talked about this earlier in the week when you weren't on the show, and real quick, I wanted your response to this, and that has to do with the fact that, well, hey, Short Circuit. How do you feel about it? The movie. Oh goodness. Which one? The first one or the second one?
The first one. Okay,
love them both, right? Love them both, but I have different feelings about both movies because they're how do I say this? I know they're remaking it. They're remaking it. They're supposed to the language was they're going to have a Latinx. By the way, Latinx not a real word.
Yeah, no one actually uses Latinx. It's Latino.
Hispanic. I have tons of Hispanic friends. They don't like that term.
No one does.
So they don't like it. I love. Okay, I love Short Circuit 2 in ways that I should not like it. Love it. Short Circuit 2 has a special place in my heart because it is so preposterous. But have you seen these movies, Kristen? Have you seen them all? Are you a Short Circuit fanatic? Do you have like Johnny Five tattooed on your arm?
No, I have seen the first one a couple times, and I haven't seen the second one.
Okay, there's a scene in the second one when Johnny Five, spoiler for a 30-year-old movie, gets beaten up and he's dying and he's leaking. No. Yeah, he's dying, right? And so he's crawling to a Radio Shack, and he grabs and he repairs himself, and he's reborn as this gold-plated Johnny Five with a mohawk, and he starts singing Bonnie, and the song Bonnie Tyler's "Holding Out for a Hero" plays as he's racing against the clock to stop the bad guy. It is so awesome. The movie's terrible.
Radio Shack.
The Radio Shack. By the way, Radio Shack was in the news, but there's an evil gang in Short Circuit 2 called Los Lobos, and their gang taunt is Los Lobos. Okay, what is it?
I can probably look that up.
Oh, what is it? Oh my goodness, I can't. I got to be careful. I don't know if I can say it on the show because there's a naughty word in it.
Probably err on the side of not.
Okay, but anyway, the least threatening gang you've ever seen.
Los Locos.
Los Locos
kick your butt. Yes.
Yeah, it's like into outer space.
Yes.
they threaten to kick your cojones into outer space. That's not a threat. Sounds like a good time. But no, I think anytime I had this discussion last week.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, why not? The original movie's not great. It's got Fisher Stevens. By the way, Fisher Stevens in blackface is a great joke because Fisher Stevens is awesome, but Fisher Stevens is not Indian. And there's that great show on Netflix called Master of None with what's his name, the comedian
Aziz Ansari.
Aziz, and he and his friend are watching all these influential Indian actors. He's like, dude, my favorite Indian actor is Fisher Stevens in Short Circuit. He's like, dude, that's a white guy in brown face.
Yep.
And they also had Dhalsim from Street Fighter. But the thing about it is that when they start saying we're going to put a Latinx or whatever spin on it, you failed, because the problem is that whenever you remake these movies, and you're like Pirates of the Caribbean, they announced they're going to remake it as a female-centric one. Like it's like saying female Ghostbusters. That would be like saying the other one's male Ghostbusters. They want male. It's just Ghostbusters. Just make a new Ghostbusters with females in it. Don't call it female. Don't gimmickize it. Just make a new Johnny Five. Get a real Indian actor. We got lots of Indian. This great Indian. Get Hassan. What's his name from The Daily Show?
Yep.
He's, you know what I mean? Like get real people in there.
And I think that was the conclusion that we drew last time we talked about this, where I like the way that you put that. The movie's not great enough to not be remade. You know, it's not like they perfectly nailed it the first time. I think that when they try to target specific audiences, I mean, you immediately, if you're not immediately part of the Latino audience, then hey, you know, you're going to be like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm immediately not going to go for it. I don't know. I will probably still watch it. I'm looking forward to it. So
Ben, they already remade it. It was called WALL-E.
WALL-E was really good. So yeah, that's true.
WALL-E's best buddy was a cockroach.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
And you're not going to get better than the first 20 minutes of WALL-E. So
it was really good. So there's that story. Real quick, I wanted to jump over to another story, and I think this is one that you had here.
Let's keep them coming. Let's keep them coming.
Yes, absolutely. Microsoft. We can talk about that real quick. Carissa has, I think she found a nice visual chart for anyone out there who wants to watch the video portion. You can see this here. Let's see.
It's from The Verge?
Yes, from The Verge, indeed. A nice little... Oh my God, they had to go with the Bill Gates picture.
Oh, he's so cute.
Is he? I don't know why you try to turn Bill Gates into a sex symbol, but
yeah, this man is working on coronavirus vaccine. So just remember that.
It's so weird. Well, and also microchips, but it's so weird that Bill Gates, the cutthroat businessman, is now one of the leading philanthropists in the world.
It's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's the way it goes, I guess. So, why did you want to talk about this, Nathan? I mean, we all use Microsoft. Microsoft won 35 years later.
Ben, it's the 35th birthday today. Why do you think I want to talk about it? Windows turned 35
I did
today.
not know that it was released November 20th. I did not know that.
And
Oh,
that is
actually,
why it's-
real quick, I should probably say this just real quick. Let's see if I got something here for this. Let's see. Happy birthday. Yeah, let's see if this works. Hopefully it does. Wow, it does. Oh, wait. Unmute site. Let's try that again. So, audio render error. Perfect. Okay, so audio render error says no. But anyways, happy birthday to Microsoft. But I also wanted to say real quick, happy birthday to my mother. So there you go. Yep, yeah, exactly. My mother
Your
was.
mother shares a birthday with Windows?
Who knew? I didn't even know that. It flies right by me every year. But yeah, it's safe to say without her, there would not be Computer America as we know it. She's helped out a lot behind the scenes with Craig and myself, and
You wouldn't be born.
yeah, exactly. That too, indeed. But yeah, Computer America owes her a lot. And of course, hey, we as a family owe her a lot. So happy birthday to her. And she's not listening because she's on vacation. So there you go.
Didn't you say she made jams or jellies? Was that the
I did not say that. No, she's no, she is jam free, so I can safely say that. But yeah, just real quick, happy birthday to her, and now back to our regularly scheduled happy birthday to Microsoft. Real quick, just a little fun fact history. Nathan, what was your first distribution of Windows? What was your first operating system? Yes.
Honestly, 95. They I didn't have a computer until late 90s. Well, that's not true. I had a Commodore 64 that I got from a yard sale.
Mm-hmm.
I had a VIC-20. I had all that stuff. I went to school like everybody else. We had to use the Minimax. So technically, I guess maybe I used Microsoft Word on a Macintosh back in the 80s. But no, I mean, Windows just wasn't a thing. Like, it's hard for people to understand now, but Windows was considered inferior slop for a very long time. It was not a competitive. It wasn't a competitive piece of software. It was an alternative to expensive Macintosh. We had OS2 Warp. We had all sorts of other stuff, and it wasn't until '95 when they got their Los Lobos together, and they were able to Los Logos, and they were able to compete with Macintosh. And my first computer was fruit of that, Ben. It was a Compact Presario 2100.
Yep.
And it was cheap. It was relatively cheap for the time. When a Macintosh would cost $3,000 to $5,000, and a Windows PC could cost $1,000 or less, which was important because it was hard. It was hard getting the money when you're poor. You didn't want to steal and rob liquor stores.
That was one of the things that early technology. Like if you were an early nerd, your family either really saved and scrimped and really, kind of got you something that was still kind of on the horizon, or you were from a well-off family that could afford to randomly drop essentially a car into your kid's lap.
There was no PC market like there was today.
Right.
It didn't exist. I mean, you bought ready-made machine. You could build something, but it wasn't like today. And I got to give Windows credit. Like we give a lot of people give them crap, but I'm using a Windows 10 machine now. I've been purchasing some Windows 10 machines for some people. I do a lot of charity work on the side, and we try to rebuild them and give them workstations, and we do that. But there's no way I would do Chromebook or anything. Windows is still the number one way to go for this. It's a better version of the computer future. I think we're building for ourselves.
Windows has certainly. I'm sorry, Krista, were you gonna say something?
She loves Windows. You got a tattoo.
Although I did want to ask Carissa real quick. Carissa, what was your first distribution of Windows?
It was also 95. I had one of those massive screen, big
The
bulky
CRTs?
things in my room.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the big monitors, and I'd do my schoolwork on it and play some games and stuff on it. It was a good time.
Yeah,
it was fun. You could do so much.
I believe mine was a Windows 95 as well. So I think we're all on the same page. And I would not be surprised if user adoption rates, if 95 wasn't like the first true operating system to really go mainstream, even over Apple.
That's it. Oh, I remember at the time it was a phenomenon. It was on TV. It was a big deal because it was
so cool.
It was so cool because it was like, wow, I can have a computer now. And Apple, to their credit, at the time, Apple was producing. This was pre Steve Jobs coming back. Apple was starting to produce imitation Macs, and we thought this is one of those sliding door moments in computer history where Apple could have gone the Mac route, which a lot of people think they should have, but they would have been dissolved into the ether. They would have been absorbed by Hewlett Packard or something, because they kept their own. Whereas Intel Pentium-based machines would run Windows was like a magic bullet to the industry. Ben, it was like I could have a computer. Schools could have a computer. We didn't have to have Apple IIs or anything. It changed the world. It really did.
I remember I went over to it was my mom's friend from her office, but then their son. I was like 9 at the time, and I knew about computers, and they just got him the latest greatest computer. I will never not find this funny. He had a Pentium 3. And I was like, man, that sucks. Like, of all the Pentiums to get Pentium 2, Pentium 4, to land on Pentium 3, that sucks. But hey, he had one, so that was pretty cool.
My compact had a CPU called a Cyrix, and the thing was buggy as hell, and the hard drive kept dying. But you know what it was? When I'm sitting there, I don't know, Chris, if you felt this way, but I was sitting there with my own computer. I didn't have to go to the library, didn't have to go to the college, didn't have to go anywhere, didn't have to have a Commodore 64, load comma 8, comma 1. I just sat there, and even though it was full of problems, it had a CD-ROM drive. It played CDs. I could go on the internet with my 28 kilobyte modem. I got so much work done. I got so much. I felt rich. I felt spoiled. And I remember, Internet Explorer 4. Okay, 14-hour download. Heaven help you if someone picks up the phone. But you did it. Then I had to go to Staples to buy Netscape.
Of course.
Wow.
There's no way I'm downloading 14 megs. It'd take forever.
The days before AOL would send you the internet in your mail. Yes.
Yeah, Windows 95 was great, but I'll be honest with you, Windows 98 was so much better. Like it was.
Oh yeah.
It was like a revelation.
98 was good, and then of course XP is XP, and it is still.
No.
Well,
you're skipping 2 turds.
You're talking about ME in 2000.
Oh yeah, ME happened. It was a thing. It happened. Okay, can't forget that. Okay.
Yeah, ME in 2000, but then XP came in and saved the day. So.
Yeah, we don't talk about Vista. But,
Vista, I used Vista forever. Vista became a good operating system after like Vista, version 2 or whatever the point 2 was. But by that time, 7 was out, and no one really cared.
Well,
but
fun fact for your listeners. Fun fact. This is why you shouldn't go proprietary, because a lot of stores that you still go to, UPS, for example, post office and all that, they still have contracts with Microsoft. And they built their software into the APIs. They built their software into the original Internet Explorer. And so their software requires Internet Explorer, which requires legacy code.
That's true.
And if you go there, their software can't do anything. It's crap. It's like from a different age. You're going backwards in time. It's like getting Canadian money. Like, what do I do with this?
In a previous job where I was working with like heavy manufacturing equipment, everything ran on Windows 95, and you could not update or change anything. And like when you work in these production facilities, when something costs $250, $500, a couple $1 million to make, the operating system is what it is. And when companies, they treat it like an asset where they'll sell you a lightly used manufacturing piece of equipment. And even though you purchase and install it in 2015, the operating system is still from 1995, and it's still considered a new quote unquote product. So the operating system is going to stay around for a long time.
Yeah, the U.S. government still pays tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to do maintenance on old OSs from military warframes.
Yeah.
And so no offense, Bill Gates, but I don't want your nasty old Windows running the nuclear codes. But I'll just say this about Windows, though.
Bobby. Yeah.
Windows 10 is the best operating system I've ever used. It is so much better than any other version window. I know there are curmudgeons out there that say Linux. No offense, Linux people, you're totally wrong. And there's old Windows people and the Mac people. Mac, you know what? You guys just you do you. Okay, you be you. But Windows 10 is so flexible. It is so maneuverable. It is so fast. Yeah, it's got problems, but I've never seen Microsoft care so much to make something so much better than it was when it started. Like they said, you know what, Windows 8, yeah, we didn't do a good job. So here's this. We'll give it to you for free. I love Windows 10. Like
Windows 10, they
it
promised, Windows 10, they have promised will be the last iteration of Windows. You and I both know that's not true. From a marketing standpoint, if nothing else, Windows 10 will not be the last because there's always got to be something new to market. But yeah, they have definitely continued support for Windows 10 much better than any other operating system they've ever put out.
It's so smooth, Like, do you know the new version of Windows 10 that just came out, the October update? They finally got rid of the device manager.
Yes.
Not device manager, but they got rid of the screens. And it's like, okay, you don't need that anymore. You don't need that. I mean, I'm not sure if I like that because I'm not a computer nerd. Like, I don't program. I don't do what are the buttons? Windows. Like, I'm revealing myself here, but I don't know how to do reg edits and all that stuff. And I'm so glad that they don't care. Like, it just runs for the most part.
Yeah,
I'm getting too old to worry about that stuff.
They have, I think they implemented Bash. They did away with the old way to get into the command, to the command prompt. And hey, you said that Linux was gone. Linux is actually getting more integrated.
I didn't say it was gone. I just said the people who think Linux is better are crazy. I didn't say it was gone. I just said their users are crazy.
Well, it turns out that even Microsoft is using Linux, like Linux users like to use Linux, where they adopt what works and what works better, and it's open source. So they have made Windows 10 better, and so 35 years. In that 35 years, I got to say that I've probably participated in about 25 of those. So I got to say, I'm 25 years later, I'm happy with Microsoft and what they've done. So
they've not just Windows. But Microsoft needs some credit for doing a lot of nice things. They've really taken up the slack on a lot of things. I mean, not everything they do is great, but generally speaking, Microsoft is a company that's not, we don't laugh at them anymore. They're a robust company that stays competitive on every front. And congratulations to them for releasing a new Xbox and stuff like that. Like they're putting the work in, is what I'm saying. They deserve your attention. Maybe not your money, but they deserve your attention.
Right. Yep. And I think that I don't know. Steve Ballmer, maybe he's a great guy, but I don't know. Microsoft has been doing so much better since he stepped down as CEO. So.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for saying. I just want to say this. Everybody should go on YouTube or Venmo and type in Steve Ballmer developers. And you know what? I think you nailed it. The moment they sort of got rid of Ballmer, the company got better. Mm-hmm. So Ballmer he's like Steve Wozniak. Like, what is up with second Steves? Like Apple and Microsoft both have like inferior Steves working for them.
But then I don't know. So there's Bill Gates, now there's Steve Jobs, and they all have their own place. But hey, so there you go. Microsoft, that's good, 35 years. Let's go ahead and switch topics, go to a new one. Craig in the chat room wanted to talk a bit about Wonder Woman. I believe we had a story you sent over about Wonder Woman, and the film industry, it's no surprise ever since the pandemic. Theaters have been in such a precarious spot that studios have films that have finished production. They did huge marketing, such as Wonder Woman. We've been hearing about these for 10 months, and they keep delaying, hoping to have their big time on, in the box office, as is tradition. But here we are a year later, and it's still looking like at least another 6 months before life can go back to somewhat normal. Studios are now putting more pressure than ever on movie theaters to kind of say, we want to release our movie in theaters, but there are other avenues and we want to explore them. Enter things like Mulan. So what about this story, Nathan, intrigued you about Wonder Woman 1984?
Well, I wanted to see the movie. The trailer was awesome. The trailer had a killer version of New Order's Blue Monday. I don't know if did you guys see the trailer?
I did not.
Oh, I actually used that trailer as like a tester for my sound because Blue Monday is not my favorite New Order song, but that remix is great. And watch the trailer if you have a chance. She's riding on lightning bolts. It looks ridiculous. The first Wonder Woman movie is a lot of fun, and we like Gal Gadot as whatever Diana Shore, whatever her name is. But I wanted, like everybody else, I want things to return to normal. Mm-hmm. But I think the larger story is really karma, because just a year ago, we were like movie theaters really thought they could bash Netflix and Amazon. Remember, punish them for not putting movies in theaters. Oh, if you don't put a movie in theater, it's not going to be nominated for an Academy Award, all that stuff. Well, congratulations. Your business is on the verge of extinction now because you decided to stop evolution.
By the way, that's something that a lot of technologists have said about the coronavirus, is that it's not that coronavirus forced anything. It's that the coronavirus accelerated trends that were already happening and took them to the nth degree. So such as working from home, online, telecommuting, teleconferencing, that kind of thing. Movie theaters, much the same way. It accelerated a trend that was already existing.
Well, I got to say this real quick because I don't know if we're going to have a chance to fit it elsewhere, but on the list, I also told you about another movie that just came out called The Fat Man. Now, The Fat Man, did you guys see the trailer for Fat Man?
I think I did. Isn't that something about Santa and some killer, like mumbo jumbo? It's crazy, right?
Tell me this doesn't excite you. It stars Mel Gibson as a rogue Santa Claus who turns out he sold out to the military, and now the elves develop military weapons. And so a kid who got a piece of coal for Christmas hires an assassin to take him out.
I think I did see the trailer for this. Yes.
And there's a line in the movie where there's a line in the trailer where he says, "You think I got this way being fat and jolly?" Yeah. And it's a hardcore assassin movie with Santa Claus. Now the movie could be total wretched garbage, but who's going to go see a Mel Gibson movie? Well, who's going to see a Mel Gibson movie right now? Let's be honest. Mel Gibson's a little saucy. Who's going to see a Mel Gibson movie playing Santa in a theater? Probably not a lot of people. But on VOD? Oh, yeah. These movies are thriving on VOD.
This sounds like one of the worst movies in theaters or
look at that poster.
Yes, exactly. Or one of the best movies on Netflix. Yeah.
It's totally a Netflix feature. Absolutely.
Isn't that awesome? Did you guys ever see a Bubba Hotep, by the way? This reminds me of Bubba Hotep.
No.
Where Bruce Campbell played a version of Elvis. So it turns out Elvis didn't actually die. Elvis switched with a body double. The body double partied hardy and died. So the real Elvis got old and went into a nursing home. And so at the nursing home, he becomes best friends with JFK. Because it turns out JFK didn't die. JFK... to hide the body, they dyed him black. So JFK is now black. And so Elvis and JFK team up because it turns out the nursing home is being invaded by, that's right, an Egyptian mummy. So
nice.
Played by Bob Ivy, yes.
So, by the way, from the maker of Beastmaster. So what I'm saying is, so you have Elvis and JFK fighting an Egyptian mummy who sucks the souls of dying people through their buttholes and gives him energy. See, none of that should make any sense, but the movie is a drama. And so a drama. So I live for movies like this. It's like, it's what we used to call, guys, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle idea. When you're a kid, you're like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? How could that be any good? I'm like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how could it be? How could it not?
How could it be bad? Yes.
Exactly. Like, how many times do we need to go see Merchant Ivory films and prestige films in the theaters that bore us? Let's get these genre movies on VOD.
You mentioned the snubbing of the Academy Awards, and unfortunately, so much of what is put out, because a way that a movie gets discovered, funded, produced, that kind of thing, it has to go through film festivals. It's not some random person comes in off the street and says, "I got this script, I wrote it at home, I think it's great, you should make it a movie." No, movies get purchased at film festivals and then are made. So if it's not critically acclaimed, if it's not critically accepted, there's a much lower chance your script gets into the right hands, and you don't get films like Fat Man made.
Well, the thing about it is that you're right. There's so many gauntlets they have to go through. And now the Academy, and by the way, Academy, you don't have the prestige to do this, but the Academy says in order for your movie to be eligible for a Best Picture, it has to hit all these diversity quotas. Again, sounds like a good idea, but that's going to completely upend like certain things. Like now you're going to get an award body telling creators what type of movie to make. If we allowed these metrics to define what movies are, we would never get movies like Fat Man. They would all be Marvel movies, and Marvel movies are fun and everything. But honestly, let's just be honest here. We're all friends. They're all the same movie. It's the same movie
but they're all great.
Time.
They're all the same great movie. So
no, I don't want the same. I want different.
Well, hey, too bad. Now, speaking of the same, Wonder Woman 1984. We have deviated a bit. Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah. Movie looks fun. It's going to be on HBO Max on Christmas Day. And by 12:01 a.m. it'll be on torrent sites. So we'll see if this experiment works.
This has happened with Mulan, a number of other movies that went straight to kind of home and that kind of thing. I'm guessing HBO, you're going to have to pay an additional fee. Like, this isn't just HBO Max.
Well, they're kind of helped run by Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is also doing the Justice League Snyder miniseries cut. And to be fair, there is a side story to this, Ben, that Disney is they announced that Disney's probably going to dump all their live action remakes on Disney Plus. I think people are finally burned out on these things, because the only thing worse than the lack of creativity in soulless remakes are bad lack of creativity in soulless remakes. And after Mulan, did you guys see Mulan? Well, no, thank you.
Yeah, we talked about Mulan as well, and I'm not sure if people know this or not, but I think Disney, Disney the person, not Disney the corporation, Disney the person, mandated that every one of his IPs had to be recreated every 30 years or something. So that's why you have CGI hyper realistic Lion King. That's why you have the live action of this, and that's why in probably about another 15 years you're going to get a reimagining of Toy Story, or at least.
Want to hear something funny?
Yeah. What's that?
Guess how many sequels were made when Disney was alive?
I don't know how many. Really?
None.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Because the idea was Fantasia was going to be what they call artistically replenished.
Yeah.
That the idea was every 20, 30 years they were going to not remake it but add to it. They were going to substitute, so new generations could reinterpret the same story. And I think the idea is correct. I think what Disney had was genius, but I don't think he expected mass market crappy direct to video sequels and live action remakes. It's at a certain point, it's just life's too short to watch bad versions of things that they already did better.
Well, and here's this article here from a couple months ago, essentially saying that all of the movies coming out from Disney in the pipeline are live action remakes, 23 of them. So
magic's a really interesting word for crap. I'm so sorry, but it's did you see Beauty and the Beast? Did you see Lion King? Why on earth did they think
the Beast? I thought
the original, the remake?
Yeah,
you're part of the problem. But the original is magic. It really is. It's a once in a lifetime thing, and I like remakes too, right? But they're going to remake The Little Mermaid, for example, and a lot of online morons they're getting mad
on that.
But they're getting mad because the Ariel is going to be black. I love the idea, but here's my idea though: don't just race swap characters. Change the setting. Take advantage. Make it take place in New Jersey. Do something remember The Wiz? Have you guys seen The Wiz?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw The Wiz.
Hey, The Wiz is not a great movie, but it's so imaginative, and Michael Jackson's awesome. And so but they really took advantage of the R&B, Motown motif, and they made something special out of it. And great. Change it. Do something else. Make something different. Don't just give me shot for shot.
So
because of
why we said that, and wow, I opened this article and I completely forgot that Will Smith was indeed the genie.
I just watched that one recently too. That was not.
It was your favorite. Fine. I hear you. Yeah, there you go.
It was fine.
So, and I just gotta say that we talked about this last time on the show, and it came down to it's much easier to sell a remake because people are familiar with the IP than it is a completely new thing. What was that one French sci-fi film that just completely bombed? It was Titan AE or something like that.
Valerian and 1,000 something.
Yeah, there was that one, and then there was also Titan AE or something like that.
Titan AE was
came out in 2000
movie in '99.
Yeah, but still, my point is introducing a new IP. It's much more complicated and a much riskier proposition for film studios than. And I'm not thinking of Titan AE. I'm thinking of it was live action. I think Titan something like that or other. But anyways. People are familiar with Beauty and the Beast. You don't have to tell them, oh, what is this all about? No, people know. Movie studios that are strapped for cash and are in a struggling industry are going to fall back on remakes because you don't have to market them as much and people know you're going to get some kind of return on them. That's why we're seeing this.
You know, good movie companies, it's really hard to create something new. You're right. It's really difficult, and there's been thousands of pages written. There's been millions of hours said about this, about the instinctual benefit of regurgitating familiar IP. And that's why we have companies like Disney in 1989 to like 94. Genius, created, even though they were redoing stuff, the application was great. Pixar, like 15 years of unbroken masterpieces. But even then, they get exhausted because as the talent recycles out and they go elsewhere, they have to fall back on sequel. And it's just the way it goes. This is product. Yeah. It's not really art. It's product, and it makes money.
I have to say that, you know, this Wikipedia article showing the biggest box office bombs of all time, you know, don't get me wrong, there's like Alice Through the Looking Glass, which I think was a sequel or just a reimagining with Tim Burton. That might have been a sequel. But anyways, there's a few sequels here, like Blade Runner 2049, but that was still like a reimagining. Not a lot of sequels, though. The majority of these movies that did not do well are completely new ideas. And yeah, you know, it's hard to sell a new idea to people. So I think that's why you're seeing that. Now, anyways, we have like 5 minutes left. We can do one more. I wanted to talk real quick, Nathan. Clearly, 2 new consoles out. A lot of video games. Video games have been doing amazing during quarantine, lockdown, all this kind of thing. You just put out with your team over at Popzara the State of Gaming, and I wanted to talk a bit about that and what did you guys talk about?
Well, we didn't. We talked about the consoles we did not get.
And everyone else.
Well, you know, in the old days, I would have gotten them. I used to be pretty savage about this and savvy about it.
You would have dealt with the scalpers? No way.
No, I would have been the scalper, Ben. No, I mean, I used to hire homeless people to go stand in line and get stuff. I mean, it was a whole gray industry. Yeah, you do what you do. But look, mouthwash will open doors. But I'll say this. We looked at it this year, and we looked at the state of things. And as a website that does cover video games quite a bit, the problem is that you have the pre-release reviews for these things out, and the consoles are not quite ready yet. New consoles are never quite ready for prime time. The features aren't always there. The stuff that they promise you is not always there. The games that they promise you are not there. You talked about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was on Dorito chips 6 months ago because the movie was supposed to be in theaters 6 months ago. That didn't happen. So now you see Wonder Woman cookies because Wonder Woman was supposed to be on now. Nope. So, and now if you go to the store right now, there's Halo Infinite game fuel.
Give it to me.
Nope. Not there. Chief isn't ready. So the problem is this always happens. And so you see these new consoles and there's no benefit for us to scramble to compete with larger websites that do this. And to that effect, if you haven't got an Xbox Series X or S, don't get the S, get the X. If you haven't got a PlayStation 5 digital or whatever, get the one with the disc. You're okay because most of the games you want to play are on the PS4 and PC. And you know what? For example, we're working on a review for Spider-Man, Miles Morales. It's a marquee game for the PlayStation 5. Looks almost exactly the same on PS4. You know why, Ben? It's a PS4 game. These games
most of these games are, and they even say that, and you know, the companies even kind of describe this to you, where they say buy it for PlayStation 4 or the Xbox or the Xbox One, and you can get it for free on the new consoles when you get it.
So you can't get a PS5, boo-hoo. You can't get an Xbox. You got a Windows machine, you got all the games already. You know what? There's a new Call of Duty, there's a new Assassin's Creed, there's a new Spider-Man, there's all this stuff you can play. Demon Souls, I think it's on the PC too, but you get all this stuff. There's so much good stuff right now. You're not going to want for anything. The big games are out, Call of Duty, Cyberpunk 2077, on the current consoles, they look fantastic. And I'm sorry, but these new consoles, if you look at the games that are built for the PlayStation, on the dedicated for the PS5 or Xbox, they look marginally, if not better than the current, because they weren't designed for it. So you got to wait 6 months. That's good. You know why? You're going to have 6 months of improvements to look forward to. Enjoy what you have.
Yeah, I would definitely be on the same boat. And I will say that like these consoles are clearly a step up from the previous consoles.
Oh yes,
but
yes.
I will say that Cyberpunk 2077 I think is a good example. Man, being a PC, you know, being someone who supports PC and, you know, has a really good PC setup, definitely benefits you with games like that, because all these games are selling you on look how good they are, and I'm sure that they're good games aside, but if you're sold on how good they look on console, there's never been a better time to be on PC, because so many of these are being released elsewhere.
Yes. And by the way, I mean, when you talk about next generation Xbox, I mean, there's not much difference between a new generation Xbox and a very decent gaming PC with Windows. And so, and speaking of Cyberpunk, if I can just say this, I'm going to surprise you. I'm not a big fan of streaming services like Stadia or Luna or Xcode.
I'm not surprised. That is the least surprising thing you've said.
No. But this is going to surprise you. I gave Stadia another chance because they improved. They gave me a free month to try it out. The service has massively improved. They just announced today that there's going to be some deal where you get a free starter kit if you pre-order Cyberpunk. Yep. I'm not trying to tell people to go out and get a Stadia, but if you have a crappy old PC or Chromebook and you can't afford a new console, and you're on a budget and you have a decent internet connection, then maybe look at it, give it a try, see if you think.
I believe one of the best deals I heard lately was that if you subscribe to Stadia, you get you get the new Destiny game absolutely free if you have a subscription to Stadia.
It's on the service, yeah,
it's on the service. So there's that, and of course there's a lot of other topics that we didn't get to talk about, Nathan. If anyone out there, hey, go check out popzara.com, and of course you'll find even more articles, reviews, and all that. Definitely check that out. So Nathan, I want to thank you so much. We're gonna have to work on your time next month, because obviously with the holidays,
we'll figure it out.
We'll definitely get you back on before then. And everyone out there, I did not mention this at the beginning, but hey, Computer America, no new episodes next week. It has nothing to do with the new World of Warcraft expansion and of course the holidays. Everyone, we will be back November 30th. Everyone, have a great one. Bye everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.